Report unusual behavior. Barricade your homes. Avoid all contact with infected individuals. Wait for official instructions. Wait my ass.
Hello, welcome to the Thursday night live stream, the Chill Brush. We are on, give me 1 second, should have had this prepared, but I didn't. Thursday live stream, episode 38. Just want to share with you the membership video and we'll be right back in 1 minute, so don't go anywhere.
So, you want to join my membership?
Gotcha. Sign up.
By joining, you won't only unlock members-only content, you'll also be supporting my channel and the growth of the community. Are you ready to do your part?
I'm doing my part.
For as little as a price of coffee a month,
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
you'll be able to access all past live streams and get exclusive members-only content.
Yeah, boy.
That's less than 49p a video.
Shut up and take my money.
So if you're ready, join now and become part of this 3D journey.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
All right, so as you saw there, you can become a member of the YouTube channel and you'll be able to unlock all the past live streams, the Thursdays and Mondays. Mondays are more like tutorial live streams, so you'll get the anatomy and the dragon bus, or the dragon tutorial, sorry. And then the Thursday ones are chilled, but you'll also get some quicker sort of projects that we do on Thursdays, and you can also hear me sprout a load of gibberish, I guess you could say, about anything and everything topic related about games and film. There's also the tier 3s, that's the one. They are currently finishing off the ZBrush tutorial on how to sculpt a velociraptor from Jurassic Park, and that is tier 3. It's a beginner's course and it's exclusive for the Patreons. So if you want, you can go become a Patreon and watch all those tutorials. You'll get all the files as well when you become a tier 3 member. Speaking of, the members next week will be getting the full, this is YouTube, ZBrush to Photoshop 3-hour video on how I created the rock golem creature, and it's all done with real time and background music. So if you want, you can just stick it on the background whilst you work on your own piece, and you can see how I sculpted the golem from beginning to end in about 3 hours. So that should be quite interesting for some of you guys. We are working on, before I go any further, there's a sale at the moment. So if you want, you can get 50% off everything on my online stores. There's more descriptions there's more information in the description box below. There's the Halloween coupons for Artstation and Gumroad. And then there's the on Flip Normals and ZBrush, they are automatically taken off. So if you go to Flip Normals, put it in your cart, any of my tutorials, brushes or models, it'll automatically take 50% off at the checkout. Cool. Right. So what we're doing tonight, we're continuing to work on the Callisto Protocol character. So if I just share this, there we are. So we're currently taking I'm just sculpting this in the background whilst I take questions. So if you have any questions, then please don't feel free, to add them into tonight's chat, and I'll get around to them. I'm just going to put on some music. It's Halloween-inspired music again. Just put a little louder. Right. Cool. So we're working on a Callisto Protocol creature because somebody in the chat asked for it, and so now I'm doing it because I am a court jester and I do whatever you guys want. Joseph, nice to see you again, says, is the teaser image for the Raptor tutorial rendered in Maya or Keyshot? I think that was rendered in Keyshot. I didn't put that in Maya. Yeah, that was just something I did very quickly to get a good shot for the thumbnail. Cool. So we are, like I said, we're working on this creature tonight inside of ZBrush. Last Thursday, we actually got quite far with the block out. We're blocking him out, starting to block him out. I'm just going to make this smaller down here because I don't really want it to be in the way too much. There we are. So this is what we've got so far. And I kind of started off with a lightbox model. Come into lightbox, you'll see there's a little lightbox model, that mail.zpr right here. And oh, sorry, some people saying hello. Sasoki T, I believe that's how you say it. I'm not sure. Hello, Celestials. You changed Orc poster on the background. Just noticed. Yes, I did. I actually painted that a couple of months ago, about nearly half a year ago. I painted that. And I put it on my Artstation actually for sale. If you guys wanted to grab one for yourself, I'll just quickly show you. We're going to get around to the sculpting, don't worry. Let me just go to my store real quick for the prints. So if I bring this over, you can see I've got a few of these prints now. Some of them I'm going to change, some of them I'm going to fix up a little bit. But you can see here the little ladies over there. And I also recently added this one. So you can see we got the Halloween themed portrait right there. If you wanted to buy it and stick it on your wall, I might buy it and do it for next year, like have it for next year. So we'll see how that goes. Santiago says, hello, cool design. Thank you very much. We've just gotten started with it, actually. We're just going through the motions right now to bring everyone up to scratch with it. So let's just get on with it, shall we? Again, if you want to ask any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat, and I'll read them out as soon as I can. Let me just hide that. Oh, it looks like they've changed the on what do you call this? StreamYard. They've changed the little chat box, and now it's bigger. So I have to change that later on to fit in that little square again. Ah, the buggers. Anyway, yeah, so what we got here, we kind of finished off last week with the head, sort of a block out, detailed the block out a little bit more, and we're going to move on to the body now. We did some of the body. It was the arms, I believe, we didn't do too much to. So again, I'm not too bothered about topology at this stage. I just want to have a really cool looking concept or really cool looking shapes that fit well with each other. So I'll just go in and start to do that. Now the hands, I think we're going to make them asymmetrical later, but we're going to keep everything as symmetrical as possible at the beginning because it's a lot easier to work symmetrically than it is to work asymmetrically. So what I'll do, I think if we look at the pictures down here, just zoom into one of these. So the idea about these creatures, I guess, from the game, I just finished watching the playthrough of the game again. I quite like doing that every now and then, just rewatching the playthrough of it. But the Callisto creatures are kind of mutated from this alien that they found on Callisto, the moon of Callisto, I believe is the moon of Callisto. And so the scientists built a prison on top of the moon so that they could do research and use people or the prisoners to research their findings with this alien DNA and stuff like that, trying to make the ultimate human that could survive in space, I believe. So, you know, the whole idea is with these creatures is they're not alien, but they're more mutations gone wrong. And so you'll see there's still elements of human on them. They just go berserk and crazy. Some of them have mutated to very, very weird designs and corruption. I guess you call it corruption. Others are just mostly human, but just got some extra parts to them, surface detail, basically. This one's definitely gone all the way with the design, but there are a few that are overly exaggerated, especially the main boss guy, which is over here. But yeah, I think we're going to keep it a little bit more human than completely full-on alien. So, I mean, we do have the alien head on ours, but we can still keep the overall design looking a little bit more human. So with the hands, with at least one of the hands, I'm going to have it as a human hand, and then on the other side, I'll deform it. I kind of like the idea of this sort of weapon on the other arm. So this sort of huge mutation. So the idea is one half of him, so this whole chunk of his arm here, will just be completely like what you see there, basically just huge pus spoils and grotesque overgrowth on his other side, which I think will look really interesting. And then as it comes across the chest and down this side, it'll dissipate and become less. I think in that one we just saw here, you can see how this artist has done the same sort of thing that I want to try and emulate, which is made major mutation on one side, and as it comes across the body and down through here, it'll start to change the shape of the body as well through here. But there's also still elements of human anatomy there, which is quite cool. Oh gosh, I've got so many questions. Hold on. Joseph says, I didn't know about this Callisto game until last week, and as a Dead Space fan, you made me interested about this game. Yeah, I mean, it's basically Dead Space 4. I mean, that's how I would say it, but they just made the story slightly different. I'm currently watching the remake of Dead Space, the Dead Space remake, and I think that looks really good. Is this good as Dead Space? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. It's not as horror. It's not like a horror game. It's more of like a alien RPG type, but it's still got the same elements as Dead Space, so that's pretty cool. Hi, how are you doing? This is Thibot. When you can, would it be possible to have a little feedback on the Flash work in progress on Discord? Yes, I am currently looking at trying to find time to get into Discord. My schedules are so booked up at the moment that I'm currently fighting to find spare time. I'm hoping the weekend or tomorrow I'll have a little bit of time tomorrow evening. I'll have a look through Discord. We should really do like a live stream Discord and just go through the work in progress stuff just through live stream instead. It'd just be easier and quicker, and it can all incorporate into the live stream. But I'm gonna have to plan something. But I will get around to it. Don't worry. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna make this smaller here. The crotch a little smaller. Now, there's not a lot more I can do, really, because we've got the overall shapes done. And the next stage to this would be to merge everything together and then Dynamesh and clean up again. And then detail, and then sort of fix these seam lines that we have going on here. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we got all these subtools. I'm actually going to merge the teeth all together first because it's quite a few of those, and they just need to be merged down. There we are. And I'm just going to merge these down as well. Now, this is the sort of part where I still, at this, you know, in my career, I get nervous about merging things inside of ZBrush. It's quite a kerfuffle to untangle that once you've merged it. So before you go any further with your design, and just make sure you're happy with the overall shapes, the silhouettes and stuff like that of the separate subtools before you merge it all together. Otherwise, it can be quite frustrating to break it apart again. There's, you know, you can still break it apart, but it's just going to be quite frustrating, really. But I am happy with it, so I'm just going to merge it down. There we are. Okay, all merged. Let's grab the Dynamesh. Now, I want to make sure this has got quite a lot of resolution because I don't want to lose as much of the detail as I want to keep as much of the detail as I can, basically. So we'll just do it by that. It's 238 points, 200k points, sorry. So we don't need a millions. Let's try 6. Yeah, maybe get a little bit lower. No, that's too low. That's still too low. Okay, that's about right. Just under a million polygons just for now. Because at this point, what we're doing is we're just going to clean up these general areas with a smooth brush. So this is one of the occasions that you can actually use a smooth brush and it's not going to be detrimental to your work, is by just cleaning up some of these seam lines. Through here. All right. And of course around the neck as well. Has anybody else played or watched the Dead Space 3 remake version? Not the original, but the remake. Because I was watching it today, or keeping an eye on it today whilst I was working, and I could swear that they had extra scenes added to that game that weren't there in the original. Now, it's been a while since I've either played or watched the original one, but I could swear to God that they sort of updated it with a new gameplay or missions. So I'll tell you what, that's one of the games that I actually am quite happy that they've updated, because it really does look a lot better with the brand new sort of graphics going on, upscaled graphics and stuff. I'm going to make the Z intensity a little lower. I'm just going to brush over most of the model, or the entire model, just to get rid of some of that artifacting on the surface, but not get rid of the detail that's on the surface. Here we are. Oops. All right. Let's just clean up this area at the back here. And now we can really play with these hips a bit more and add some of that detail in there, that muscle, which is the oblique. How's everybody doing with their anatomy studies? I hope everybody's been watching those tutorials, because I'll be honest, I prefer to do different tutorials, but a lot of people were asking about the anatomy tutorials and how I go about doing anatomy. So yeah, I'm hoping people are doing it in their spare time as well. I'd much rather be doing something more alien creature related when it comes to anatomy and design. But it's good to have the fundamentals in anatomy, obviously. Otherwise you couldn't do anything or any sort of creature work, could you? Joseph says, tried it, didn't get far yet, but I noticed the places more detailed and Isaac's face is different. Yeah, I think they swapped out a lot of the characters from the original, like their faces. I remember the original game, Dead Space game, had that actor, that African actor. What is his name? Oh, was it Dead Space original cast? 2008 it was made. My God. Peter Mensah. Peter Mensah. They had him in the original, but then when they made the remake, they chose a different actor's face, or they used a different actor's face. They probably used a different actor's voice as well, which I found to be quite a pity actually, because I think they could have really sold it a bit better if they just used the original actor's face. Probably would have cost a lot of money though. The actors wanting to... Is he dead? Hold on, let me just make sure he's not dead. He's not dead, as far as I can tell. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So as I was saying, yeah, it probably cost a lot of money for the likeness, I guess. So, oh well. Now, I'm gonna put the Z intensity down a little bit more. I think if you've watched my anatomy tutorial, you will have seen last week that when I explained to you why, as you get more and more into the detailing stage of your model, it's a good idea to bring down the Z intensity when using the clay buildup. And you can then build up the forms a lot slower, but it makes a lot of difference to the surface of the model. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just using the clay buildup at a very low intensity on the Z. Also adding a bit of smooth as well. I guess you could add some smooth as well if you wanted to. And this just gives a nice slow buildup. And it might not look like you're doing much, but if you spend enough time using this technique on your model, you'll start to see the difference very quickly. I'll use a standard as well, just to add some of the extra detail in here. So his throat. It's going to have quite a bit of under chin, like build up. Yeah. How's everybody's week been, by the way? Is everybody having a good week so far? Anybody start any new projects? Any good-looking projects, or finishing old projects? That'd be quite fun to see what you guys are doing. All right. Now, I am going quite quickly with this now. I would normally spend a bit more time, extra time, making sure everything is good. But I'm conscious about the time that I have per live stream. And I don't want to have this one go on for months on end. That's kind of not the point of the Thursday live stream. Thursday live stream is more about you guys getting to witness how I go about sculpting quick models. and having a good chit chat. So I'm not going to spend a hell of a lot of time with this guy. Smooth those out. Give it a bit of a rib cage there. Just gonna pull out the lateral muscles at the sides here, lateral dorsi, the lats. There we are. That gives them that nice T, like V shape. Joseph, yes, I did see your crocodile leg. I was going to say something on Discord, but I had to sort of start the live stream. But I did see your crocodile leg on Discord. It's got a good block out so far. It's one of those ones where I think a crocodile leg, every artist should learn how to sculpt one, you know, just so they can learn sort of patience as well when it comes to sculpting, because crocodiles have such a unique scale structure on them that it's easy to see where artists have gone wrong or have messed up. So I find it's a good idea to maybe sculpt a crocodile or part of a crocodile, especially if you're sort of stuck for ideas. I believe that's what Joseph was. He was kind of stuck for ideas, or wanted to get it back into ZBrush and you know, after a while being away from it, but didn't know where to start. So I kind of just said, you know, why don't you try something small? You know, don't try to sculpt a say like a mech robot straight away, or a huge creature. Start small and get back into the groove of sculpting inside of ZBrush, because you can lose that techniques and style and stuff. So it's and knowledge as well. So it's a good idea to start on something completely different, but something really small just to get your brain working again. Kind of like how our sort of concept artists will do a sort of 30-minute morning sketch to wake their hand up and wake their brain up. It's the same thing with sculpting. In fact, you can actually have the exact same attitude towards sculpting as you would if you were a concept artist towards drawing. They're basically the same thing, apart from the 3D aspect, obviously. But the discipline and practice is exactly the same. If you do something for long enough in 2D, you'll be able to draw it, right? Same thing with sculpting. If you practice and practice and practice, then you'll eventually become faster or get more knowledge out of sculpting. Celestial says turtles are fun to sculpt too. Yeah, I haven't actually sculpted a turtle yet. I mean, well, I did a turtle for a video game once, Far Cry VR for zero latency. It's one of those studios. It was an outsourced project for Far Cry 3, and they wanted to have this because it was built for a warehouse type studio gameplay area. I'll try and find it. Hold on. Far Cry 3 VR. It was called Far Cry Virtual Reality Experience at Zero Latency. Here it is. So the idea is you would go into this big room with a suit on, a VR headset, and a gun. You couldn't use anything but the gun in front of you, but you can swap it out for a crossbow, a machine gun, or I think it was a flamethrower or grenade launcher. And you'd walk around, and you'd actually walk around the set. So these are like the sets you could walk around. That's kind of like an artist rendition of it. There's some more. Yeah, it's kind of weird because you couldn't actually see your hands. You actually you just saw the gun, I think, in front of you. You didn't actually see the hands, so that was a bit weird. But it was a really cool concept, and I got to make the Vass character. I got to. It's funny. Ubisoft gave us the original files for Far Cry 3, which was, by the way, one of the best Far Cries I've ever played. It's actually one of the ones that I finished, actually, like full 100% finished. And I was always a fan of it, and I was always a fan of the bad guy Vass. And it just so happens that, about 10 years later, I'd be working on a Far Cry game and revamping, or they call it revamping. They call it upgrading or up-resing an original file. So that's when you take an original file from a game and then you try to make it look better, but try to keep the game model the same, just make the textures look like better. There might be some modeling involved as well. But I got to basically update Vass for that VR experience, which is really cool. In fact, I think I was the only artist on that project, a character artist, and I had to do, like I said, I had to do turtles, I had to do animals, characters, enemies, even weapon design. I had to do that as well. So, yeah, interesting project. The majority of the work was given to us from Ubisoft, but there was a few things like animals and stuff like that which needed to be completely redesigned and sculpted. So that's what I had to do. Hamid says, for texturing this creature, are you going to use Substance Painter in combination with Photoshop or only Photoshop? I hadn't thought about taking it into Substance Painter because I don't have a license for Substance Painter because it's expensive. The thing with that is Adobe Creative have just updated. Well, they've just made things more expensive, right? So instead of everything's gone up in price with the Adobe licenses, and I had to get rid of Substance Painter. So the only reason I'd use Substance Painter is if I'm going to be using it often, right? Because otherwise it's going to be something I'm paying for, but I'm not using. And outside of work, I don't tend to use Substance Painter that much because it's quite a long sort of process to take something from ZBrush to Substance Painter, unless it's just a quick sculpt and a quick texture. But is it worth the money to do that, or would it be better if I did what do you call it? Constant tutorials with Substance Painter? Then I think I would actually pay for it again. OP says Painter is $100 USD on Steam. Is that Creative Cloud Substance Painter, or is that algorithmic Substance Painter? Because if it's Creative Cloud, then I might just get it. Let me just check Substance Painter Steam version. Oh, it is actually Creative Cloud's version. Interesting. I'll have to look into that because I have a Substance Painter. I've got a Creative Cloud subscription because I need it for the video editing and the Photoshops and stuff like that, right? But if I can get Substance Painter one-off payment, then I think I might just do that. Does that also come with free upgrades and free updates, or is that just 2025? There has to be something there that, you know, Creative, Adobe Creative have put in there saying, you might put something in there saying, you know, this is a one-off subscription, you don't get any updates or anything like that. I'm sure that's what's like. To be fair, I'm still using, as you can see at the top here, ZBrush 2022. So I'm not actually bothered about upgrading to the newer licenses. In fact, anything I can get for free would be amazing. And no, before anyone says Blender, no. I'm kidding. I will like to learn Blender at some point, but not right now. It's just everything's too what do you call it? It's too much to do, basically, between learning that and Blender. Okay. Got some nice shapes going. OP says it gives you 1 year of updates, then you keep it, but without. Okay. I'll look into that. Definitely. Phantom Miller says, is your Substance ZBrush license perpetual as well? Yes, it is. In fact, when I bought my new machine, I was a bit scared about having to, you know, get the license for my new machine, but it's actually easier than I thought, and thank God that I have this perpetual license, because that subscription, although I love Maxim and I love ZBrush, I'm not a fan of the price, even though they have done a lot more than Pixelogic did for ZBrush in terms of fixing things. Although I have heard rumors that 2026 has some bugs in it, so a lot of people are sticking with 2025 still. But yeah, although I love the fact that they've, you know, started to integrate more into ZBrush with new apps and fresh ideas, I just don't think it's worth the pay, the subscription fee to buy it right now. Yeah, and I think that is actually one of the good things about ZBrush Maxim, is that they've actually given you the option to keep your perpetual license, right? I have Keyshot on the machine over there in the background, hence why I had to set it up over there, because Keyshot, the buggers, they won't let me move my license over to the new machine because they don't support perpetual licenses anymore. Starting at the beginning of this year, I believe it was, they decided to stop perpetual license because I think someone else bought the company. So that was a good £1,000 spent. Now I have to render it on that small machine back there, and basically all that machine has is ZBrush and Keyshot on it, nothing else, because I need all the power I can get to, all the space I can get in power I can get to render something. But yeah, quite good times. Phantom says also, yeah, the Substance license on Steam is very good. Good. Yeah, it's pretty scummy, isn't it? Yeah, definitely pretty scummy. I can't believe it, like £1,000 down the drain, man. And why even call it a perpetual license if you can't even make it perpetual? I think that's just bad advertisement. That's bad. So I can never update that machine in the background, otherwise I'll lose my Keyshot license. And Keyshot is expensive. Like that is not even a joke. I think I'd actually buy a ZBrush license before I buy a Keyshot license, because ZBrush has like a built-in redshift rendering, and I'd prefer to have ZBrush and Keyshot for the price that Keyshot allows you or charges you just for Keyshot per year. You know, that's just ridiculous. Celestial says, have you thought about streaming on the ZBrush channel? I heard they gave you license if you do. I have thought about it, but they stream at the same time I do, I think. I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, I don't know how many people would be interested in my sort of streams anyway. I'm quite a slow artist, and in comparison to the people that they get on there, they're like top tier people, you know, in their practice. Whereas I am but a humble artist, I guess. Plus, I don't think I could keep up with the time that they would want me on there, because I'm not sure what times that they would give me and stuff like that. And yeah, not sure. Anyway, you've got this live stream as well. You know, this live stream where you can ask me anything, and I'm not afraid to answer. Unlike on ZBrush, I'd probably have to mind my P's and Q's. It's good to have healthy competition as well, you know. So they can have their live streams and I'll have mine, and hopefully one day I will be better. Or not. I don't know. Cool. Right, what's it got in here? Phantom says, I just use Marmoset Toolbag, though it isn't as streamlined as Keyshot. I think it's pretty good. I have to ask about Marmoset Toolbag. When you do, because I haven't done it yet, I haven't tested it, and I've got an old version of Marmoset. Because when I used to click on the button to say take it to Keyshot, it would take the character, the high-res model, and the texture through, and it would just do it really quickly and nice, and I could just get in and render. Is that the same thing for Marmoset, or do I have to make the model with UV maps, then take the textures, export the textures, like the normal maps and all those sort of things, and plug it into Marmoset, and then do all the lighting and rendering? Is that the same thing as it used to be, or have they? Yeah, like I say, have they got like a streamlined version where you just click a button and everything gets imported into Marmoset as a high-res model with textures, with at least a texture color map? Because if they do that, then I will look into that. But I've always thought of Marmoset Toolbag as just a rendering engine for final product, you know, so you can get some good-looking renders in it. Never thought about it as a. I know you can also do textures in Marmoset now, and normal maps and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I've only ever used Marmoset for, is like just quick like turntables and stuff like that. Joseph says, will you participate at ZBrush Summit again? I don't know if I did. Did I? Oh, no, they there wasn't me well, I participated in a portfolio, online portfolio for the book that I created, the John Gwynn's book. I did a live stream with them then, but I haven't been asked back, so I'm not sure about that. I can't even keep up with these sort of events, you know. I always plan or want to do like a 3D event, like go to like London when they do their 3D events, but I keep forgetting. just keep forgetting about them, and then they've gone by, and I've missed my opportunity. Phantom says, in my experience, you do have to have UVs or UDIMs if you want specific texture painting. Okay. I'll have to look into that. Celestial says, there's no bridge ZBrush Marmoset, but you can use model with poly paint and no UVs. Okay. So you just export it with color information and then import that model into Marmoset, and it'll automatically have that texture assigned as color. So that's something I could look into. Yeah, something I could look into. Definitely. All right. Thanks for that. See, I'm not just learning, you're learning. Well, not, you're not just learning, I'm learning. Export as FBX, yeah. Export as FBX because it holds the color information. Yeah. All right. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about the legs in general. Because when I do concepts like these, like a concept piece, I tend to make the legs quite dark. You can see in this image down here. I want to focus the eyes of the audience towards the top half, not the bottom half. And it's the same thing for around here. I mean, you can see the darkness on the bottom here, so you can hide the feet a little bit from view. But we will detail them a little bit. Not as much, though. Yes, especially if we want to move along quickly. Just add some fattiness to his legs. Yep. So you see what we're doing tonight, what I'm doing here right now is the same thing we'll need to eventually get to with the anatomy stuff, right? Which is that when you have the muscles where you want them in anatomy, you'll then have to add some fatty deposits and skin layer, and you'll start to lose those forms, but you know that they're there still. But you just have to be patient with this. Who else has actually bought that book, The Anatomy for Artists? We call them 3D artists. Has anyone bought that book yet? The one that we're using for the anatomy sort of tutorials? Because if you haven't, I don't know why you haven't. If you really want to be an artist, you need to have at least have one of those. Have that book with you, so that you can refer to it. Also, don't be afraid to grab one of those sort of models from the wish list that's on that live streams, because they're very handy as well. I mean, I usually have mine up there because I don't tend to look at it very much when I'm doing creature designs, but when I'm doing human designs, I normally have it sitting on the table so I can look at it more often. Cool. I mean, we're getting some nice clean geometry now, which is good. It's a slow process, but it's good to have these slow processes. Just gonna pull his legs out a little bit. Right. We'll have this clay build up. Right. Okay, so let's say we have. Just grab a screen quick. Oh wait, there's a question. 1 second. Phantom Menace says, "Is there a physical version of the book or only PDF? My setup doesn't have enough screen space for more stuff." There's a book version. If you go to the live stream, Anatomy live stream, you'll see there's a wish list on there, and on that wish list is this. It's an Amazon wish list. It's basically this book, basically. So you can buy a paperback or a hardback of that version of that book, and it's just something. It's just really nice to have right next to you, because you will forget on occasions. You might forget what sort of body part goes where, and and how does it look in this certain area and whatnot. So it's good to have something, at least something to refer to. Has everybody got the Halloween spirit yet? Has anybody watched any good horror films? I always mean to, but then I forget. I have very little days off, even evenings. I'm working constantly in the evenings as well. So it's difficult for me to sit back and watch a film. But yeah, I really love watching horror films, especially this time of the year. What I really like though is waking up and it's completely dark. Like, I wake up at 4:30 every morning to go to the gym, right? At about 6 o'clock in the morning, the gym opens. And so I walk in, and it is just the eeriest thing in October to walk at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and there's nobody around, and it's it's all the lights are off and people are still sleeping, and it's just you in the streets just walking. It's crazy. It's like really eerie, but at the same time I really feel like I'm like one up on people, because I have the mentality that, whilst people are sleeping, I am actually up, and so I am kind of ahead of the people that are sleeping. It's kind of a weird. It's weird to sort of imagine, but yeah, I love waking up early and being up before everyone else. It's weird because I like waking up early, but I hate going to bed early. So I'm constantly like fighting to get out of bed because I went to bed too late the night before. We're going to click that like that. Oh gosh. Just rewatched The Thing classic. Ah, cool. Is that the yeah, that's a classic thing, right? Because they brought out another thing. They brought out another thing. Thing 2, which is basically a prequel to the original. And I found that weird because it felt like a 2020. The way the Thing was filmed, it's John Carpenter's The Thing, isn't it? The way the Thing was filmed, it had that graininess, it had that old style camera look to it, film look to it. And then they made the Thing, the second film, which is a prequel to the original, but everything was in high res, high definition CGI. The clothes looked like they were from 2020. I think that was when it came out. Oh, it could be like 2012, 2016, something. So everything looked like it was brand new, right? And just well, spoiler alert, at the end, they kind of make it so that the prequel the original begins with a prequel left off. So it's just one night or 5 hours between the two films. But it looked a lot more because it looked a lot older or weirder, sorry, because the original film had that weird graininess and sort of the time type film feel to it, whereas the sequel or the prequel, which should have been like the original, like the way they shot it and filmed it, just felt too modern, you know? Am I the only one that thinks that? Am I the only one that's going crazy about this film whenever I talk about it? I don't know. Maybe I am. Hamid says, I want to rewatch first Alien movie. Yeah, I like that as well. Alien movie. Really cool film. I'm planning to watch A Nightmare on Elm Street. Which one? Which one? Is it the new one or the old one? Because I'm in two ways about the original and the remake. I like the remake because I like the actor who played. He was the guy who played that character in The Watchmen with the mask. What is that guy's name? The guy with the mask. I don't know. Anyway, he was a great Elm Street, like Freddy Krueger, right? But I still like the original because it's got that again, it's the vibe it gives you of the old style films where they were a little bit more relaxed about stuff, especially when it came to horror and gore. So you wouldn't see that sort of thing today because they would have to make it a PG-15 for young people to watch. I'm pretty sure most horror films today are like PG-15, which completely destroys the idea of a horror film, by the way. But I like The Nightmare on Elm Street, both the original and the remake. Has anyone here watched the new Alien Earth series? No, I haven't. I haven't got. Is it HBO? It's kind of funny, isn't it? How Disney decided to create their live streaming channel, and then they couldn't put any. Well, they've always been like the family friendly name brand, right? Disney, and so they make their new live streaming channel, and all they can put on there are family friendly things. So they couldn't put any gore or anything like that on there, or horror, or sort of adult themed stuff. So they had to do a deal with Hulu. Was it Hulu or no? It's Hulu. Sorry, not HBO. They had to do a deal with Hulu in order to be able to put more adult content on Disney. So now it's okay for Disney to have more adult themed stuff, and I think Alien and Disney don't kind of match. They don't go together, you know. Phantom also says there's also a super thing King Chocolate Thunder and oh my god. All right. Is Alien Earth any good? Celestial says starting with the first. Okay, they're just chatting. I'll let them chat. I'll just carry on with the sculpting. Cool. So I have this character now, and I've gone along and I've cleaned up those edges, those areas. I've also done some extra detailing to him. I'm just going to get rid of that line a little bit more. It's a bit too intense there. Okay, now what I'm going to do, there's two ways you could do this, because once I go any further, there's no going back, right? I want to add asymmetry to him, and I'm wondering whether to do it in this stage, the Dynamesh stage, or do it after the retopo. But if I do it after retopo, then anything we add is going to stretch the geometry. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it in Dynamesh. I think that's the safest bet. So it's going to be asymmetrical from now on. I'll try and keep as much of it symmetrical, but as I said before, I want to add some asymmetry to him because that just gives a more interesting look to your character when it's asymmetrical, especially for like a horror game. And also nature is not symmetrical. It is weird and wonderful, I guess you could say. Okay, let's see. I want to, on the left side, or his right side, I'm going to add some bigger shapes in here because I want to deform this a lot more. Actually, before I do that, it's always a good idea to save a copy. Oops. Save a copy just in case you change your mind later on. Okay, so I'm going to use the inflate brush for this, just because it's going to give us some quick shapes to play with. I'm just going to inflate down the arm here. Now it's going to look a bit bulgy. It's going to look a bit weird, but it's okay because we're going to go back in and sculpt it anyway. I actually want to get rid of the fingers, don't I, as well? So I'm just going to get rid of these fingers. It's also a good idea to do this during the Dynamesh stage because you can then get rid of the fingers and then fill in the holes so you don't have an open model. I'm going to split them hidden. I'm going to delete those. And I'm going to Dynamesh to close those holes up. And I want to now take inspiration from this one down here and start to shape it a little bit more like that. So I'm just going to, using the move brush, and I'm just going to trim down the thumb area. All right. Dynamesh again. Okay, I'm gonna bend this out a little bit, give it even more asymmetry. Move the shoulder up because a lot of the boils are going to be on this part of the body, right? On the back as well. So we can build this up with a clay build-up. We can now come in here and start to deform him even more. Now you can maybe, make the intensity a bit more now that we're adding more form to him. Got a question real quick. From Hamid, says, as a professional CG artist, do you prefer watching horror movies made with practical effects or CGI and visual effects? That is the hardest question I think anyone could ask, because the way I got into sort of creature design and film and game design is because when I was a kid, there wasn't that much CGI and stuff, right? There was some CGI and stuff, but the majority of the horror and the gore and stuff like that was practical. And that always scared the bejesus out of me because you know it's real. You know, you can physically see it, you can physically touch it. So you know it's real, right? But then CGI comes along and kind of at the very beginning, CGI wasn't great, so you didn't have that scare factor, right? And I think because of that, CGI has never been scary when it comes to horror, like major scary. Like, you know, you wake up in cold sweats the night you watched it on the film or something. Whereas practical effects, you know that damn thing's real because it's in a warehouse somewhere. So I think, if I'll go back to your question, I prefer practical a lot. Like when I watched Predator when I was a kid, when I first watched Predator, that thing scared the hell. Alien, actually, that's a good one. Alien scared the hell out of me when I first saw it, right? And there's nothing that can beat that fear when you're younger. Now, today they've created alien films with CGI, and I have actually sort of been in the studio and had worked alongside an artist that was actually sculpting the alien. And I think because you see it so often, maybe it's also because when you're younger, you're scared of everything, really. But basically, the more you see of the monster, the less scared you are as well. When it was practical effects, the directors would use the darkness to mask the creature, because sometimes the practical effects was not great, or they would enhance it by using the dark, right? So in Alien, the first Alien, you hardly saw the creature. It was only like very close-up shots of him sort of skulking around and whatnot. And that scared hell out of you because, you know, you didn't really know what you were looking at, and you kind of it played with your mind, right? And then, lo and behold, a couple of years later, about 20 years later, something like that, Alien Covenant comes out, and they stick the alien in broad daylight on top of a spaceship, and you can see everything, and it's not scary. And they did the same thing with the Predator films. They just made it. They put the Predator creature in broad daylight, and it wasn't scary. And there's too many jokes, and you know, they like I said, they're playing to their 15 audience, like age 15 audience, right? They don't want to have majorly scary films and stuff because they want to be able to get the audience in. And so it kind of ruins it, really. But I do like practical effects. I'm always amazed by practical effects and what they can do in real life. And if you can make a horror film without CGI and just use practical effects, then you're kind of, you know, it's a dying art form. I think there was a TV show that I used to watch where they get these practical effects artists, makeup artists on, and it was a competition, and they had to come up with creature designs or whatever. It's like kind of like you know, the Great British Bake Off or Lego, the Lego contest on TV. But it was more niche. It was much more niche. It was all to do with practicals, face painting or effects and stuff like that. And the amount of work these people did was absolutely nuts. Like how they made a character or creature look so real as well. It's unbelievable. Cool. So now we have a massive growth on one side. There we are. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and sculpt every single boil and puzzle and stuff like that you can see on the side here, because that's going to take forever. So I will be using a brush that I've created to get that detail in later. So should save us some time. Going to add that sort of spike on his arm here. Pinch. Phantom Menace says, I can say that I like the feral predator's design in the most recent film, but I'm a little hesitant for the Predator Badlands film. I agree. I'm not quite sure what to make of that film yet. Again, you're humanizing something that wasn't human, it could backfire. I mean, if you've seen the latest Predators Badlands, what do you call it, trailer, you finally get to hear the Predators talk in their tongue, and it's just humanized it, and I don't like it. I don't like the way they've humanized the Predator. The Predator's not supposed to be something that we interact with. It's supposed to be something that we're afraid of. We shouldn't have any feelings towards it, and I think it's just ruin the appeal, I think, for me. I'm very particular when it comes to films. I don't like things getting messed with when it shouldn't be messed with. You know, it's like, don't break it if it's not broken type thing. If they just created another scenario where they had special ops people in a jungle, and they were hunting and or doing a mission, and then they were getting hunted by another predator, then I would be like, you know, definitely all up for it. But they've decided to humanize the predator, and I can't deal with that. So that's a problem as well. They like to humanize a lot of monsters, like give them like backstories and stuff, and take away the monster factor when it comes to films. Sorry, I just waffled on there. The Pink Goblin. Hi Marcus, I'm 3D artist, and I try to push my book into creature monsters. Is it hard to find a job in it? It's not the best of times to find a job, I can tell you that. From what you can see coming out of Hollywood or the games industry at the moment, it's very difficult to find a job. Not that I want you to not try. I just want you to realize that it's not a great market right now out there. A lot of people are getting laid off from studios, so there's a huge amount of competition at the moment for experienced artists, and I think the experienced artists are going to have the upper hand right now, unfortunately. And so it all depends on the studio you want to work, because it's basically the studios have the upper hand on artists right now, right? It's no longer the artists in high demand, it's the other way around. So that could be quite a daunting thing to get into. Creature design, I find creature design is simple or easier for me, because I love doing creatures. I would love to do more creature stuff rather than human stuff. But yeah, is it hard to find a job in it? It is hard to find a job in it because there is so many people who prefer creature work. You know, a lot of artists would prefer to do creature work than to do humans or environments or as asset or robots and stuff like that. So you're going to be up against it, unfortunately. But you know, I mean, how good's your portfolio? Can you work relatively well? Have you got some good ideas? Anything like that is going to help you like later on as well. So anything else as well, like concept work. Can you do concepts? Can you draw? Can you take a creature from start to scratch? Can you do speed sculpts? Can you do speed concepts? Have you got a good imagination when it comes to creature design? My imagination's not great, I'll be honest. But it's these sort of things. Are you dedicated to it as well? Oops. come on. What's going on? So yeah, there's a lot of competition out there for skilled artists right now. Creature design, I haven't seen anything really coming up or mentioned about creature stuff. I think Hollywood is not scared, but cautious, I guess you could say, about making new projects and starting new projects. Or they've just gone quiet, very quiet, for some reason. Some unknown reason. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. Kind of lost a lot of shape there. Don't want to lose a lot of shape, but I do want to just have mass amounts of skin in this, or sort of shapes in here. Oops. Let's dynamesh this to skin on my nerves. Oops, too little. I forgot to ask, what's the Pink Goblin? What sort of work do you actually have in your portfolio? That would be more of a, give you a bit more of an idea of where you're coming from. Because I don't want to put people off, but I also don't want to lie to people. You know, I don't want to tell people that, you know, it's all sunshine and rainbows, when at this very moment in the industry it's kind of cutthroat at the moment. There we are. Let's break this up a bit. Oops. Just because it's a lump of skin doesn't mean it can't be interesting to look at. Says, thanks for your answer. It's super interesting and super stressful in itself. I'll go to your Discord to post updates if that might interest you. I was a 3D trainer, specialized in character. Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. That Discord, if someone could help me with that Discord, or if you can find it, great. But if you can't, let me know and I'll put it in the chat, because that Discord is just so temperamental with the perpetual link. So just let me know in the chat if it's not working. I'll put a link in the chat. Oh no! Oh dear. Alright, give me 1 second, guys. My machine decided to take a brain fart and die. ZBrush. Give me a second. I'm just going to try and load it up again. Typical. Absolutely typical. One second. Where is it? Okay, I'm going to try and loading this one up. I tell you what, ZBrush, that autosave, that is the lifesaver of all time. I cannot live without that autosave. I don't know why it crashed on me. I wasn't doing anything too extraneous. I mean, the polygon count is very low. Maybe it's just ZBrush having a brain fart. I don't know. Oh, you show. Oh, by the way, I show a lot of your work to my student in Breakdown. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that people are using, showing what's possible with ZBrush to other people through the use of my videos. I don't mind. It's nice. It's nice to know that people are still interested, because I think the time-lapse things on YouTube are becoming old now. I think people are more interested in other things now. There's not as much traction on those videos anymore. It might just be the subject that they're not interested in, but I have seen a very small, well, I have seen a lot of people, well, not people, but not a lot of traction on my YouTube channel anymore. It's just, it might just be time to change things up or do something else, because I think people are just getting a bit bored. Yeah, let's branch this out a little bit down here. Let's make it branch out a little bit here as well. Really breaking up that silhouette with the sculpt. Oh shoot, I'm not even sharing my screen, am I? Oh, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, ZBrush came back on. Sorry about that. Sessiel says, people tend to watch short videos right now, but I prefer longer ones. Yeah, I think attention spans just, well, in general, attention spans just absolutely tanked amongst people these days. I think it's also because there's not a lot of talking in my videos, apart from these live streams, obviously. But the non-talking videos are kind of taking a hit, especially my stuff, because it's not very much else, is there, apart from just videos and music. And guess I need to change things up a bit, basically. I was always going to sculpt the whole thing without you guys being able to see it. Thank God I looked up. I hate that, because it's not like other live stream. I think I've said this before. It's not like other live streamers doing this. They get to sort of talk and look at their chat or their display screen at the same time, right? Whereas I'm talking and sculpting at the same time, and it's a lot hard to do, and you forget about things that's not in your peripheral vision. And so I'm constantly having to look up, make sure that everything is correct on the screen that I'm sort of streaming from. And sometimes I'll just sculpt away and forget that I'm not even sharing the screen. Right. Okay, so we got like one half sort of done. Let's. I think what I want to do is bring it, like this guy's done here. Whoops, not him. This guy. Maybe bring it down to the side here as well. So I'll just start to add some bulk on the other side of the creature. And don't worry about being too not enough generosity to it, because more is more, basically. Yes, that's right, Phantom. Can't interrupt focus. I tell you, that is the hardest thing about doing these live streams, is trying to focus as well as explain and sculpt at the same time. It is not something that you're born with. It is something you need to learn. You have to learn. Let's get a nice girthy growth going here. And then we'll basically just stretch the rest of these muscles through here. So there's also a good exercise for sort of replicating what we see here, but a good test to show asymmetry and asymmetry in this sort of anatomy as well, seeing as we're now sculpting asymmetrically. So everything that's been pulled to the right hand side now is going to have an effect on the left hand side. So you'll see the deformity in the stomach as everything's been stretched to the lower side of the body here, just like this one here. And we'll just continue that up here. Muhammad says, hey man, been watching the Dragon Bus tutorial, loving it so far. Really awesome job on it too. Thank you very much. Yeah, like I said, I'm having a sale. I don't know if you see that ticker tape at the bottom there, but it's 50% off everything until the end of October. And there's the description box below. We'll have the coupon codes for Artstation and Gumroad, but Flip Normals and ZBrush are automatic. So if you buy them from there, they'll automatically be taken off at the till. So if you want, you can grab brushes, tutorials, and models for 50% off until the end of October. And that is my shameless plug. I hope it came out all right. Let's make this thing go down the leg a little bit as well. Just really go to town with it. Joseph asks, have you played or watched Dying Light games? I'm not a fan of it. I say I'm not a fan, but I just never got into it really. I think it's one of those games. I think there's just too much. Well, I can't even say that because I haven't played it either. But I think it's just too big of a game. And I think didn't Dying Light take forever to release, or was that Dead Rising? No, it was Dying Light, right? No, it wasn't. It wasn't Dying Light. It was the other game. That took forever. But I don't know. It never appealed to me. I think it's just. I think it's all the parkour and running. I'm not that sort of inclined when I'm playing video games. I prefer to take my time walking around and looking at everything. And slower games. I like games that are multi-choice games. You know, so you get ask you get asked questions and you get to do multiple choice sort of endings and stuff like that. You know, story-driven games rather than sort of running around type games. I think it's just because I'm an old man now. I don't want to do the whole running around shooting things anymore. Alright, now it's really adding some of that stretch to the stomach. We also don't want to lose that belly button in here. That's grotesque. Celestial says, are you going to sculpt Frankenstein when the movie comes out? Is that the latest film that's coming out? It's, by the guy who did Pan's Labyrinth, I believe, right? I might. It's quite a big thing doing a character like that. You see, I really want to do loads more stuff. It's just I never have the time nowadays for some reason. I'll have to see. I really want to sort of take a break from the time lapse things and when I'm not going to take a break from the time lapse thing, but I want to start doing better models, right? Sculpting better things, but take my time with it and film it whilst I'm doing it, but take my time with it and then bring out really more detailed, well, not more detailed, but more final sort of characters, you know, rather than speed sculpt through everything and then have like a half created creature. I want to try and start doing longer projects, but time lapse them and then share them. I don't know. Something I'm coming across because I need to also take a sort of little break from doing all this sort of a video a week type thing. I have to plan it out during the Christmas period because that's when I don't do any work. Is during the December period, so I can plan for the next year. So I need to plan what I want to do video wise and live stream wise for next year. Of course, the anatomy tutorial is going to carry on until that's finished, but I want to try and figure something else out for next year so that I can find some time to, I don't know, have a life as well and not just spend all my evenings on on making content, because I'm not a content creator. Well, I am a content creator, but I'm not a full-time YouTube content creator. You know, this sort of stuff I do is on the side of my actual job. So I don't want to take over my life either. I want to do some other things as well. Do some painting. Maybe I want to do more paintings like that one in the background there. You know, venture into that sort of stuff. See how that goes. Phantom says, have you seen the trailer for the new Frankenstein? Very peak. That got alone was a good cinema. Yeah, I have seen the trailer for that. I think it's gonna do very well, especially if it's Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo, no, I don't know how to say his name. Especially if it's his work, because he's always good with creature features, right? So even his Hellboys were really, really good creature designs and shot. And he's a practical effects kind of guy, so you know that'd be. He loves that practical effects quite a lot. Celestial says, "Why would 3D artists have a private life?" Yeah, that's true. Why would they? What's the point? No, I need to, because I've been doing this since lockdown, right? That's what, how many years now? It's quite a few years now. Been doing this since 2020, wasn't it? 2020 was lockdown, so 5 years. And I don't know, I think I just need to take a break from just doing this all the time. Please let me take a break. I'm begging you for let me take a break. Nah, it's not you guys that are keeping me from doing this, but for keeping me from leaving this, by the way. It's just I don't have I decided this year I was going to test out the 3D live streaming on YouTube, and then I will see how that goes for the whole of the year, and see if it picks up or if it's any good, or if I'm any good at it. And then I think next year I have to plan it out better. So next year will be different. I want to spend a little bit less time in front of a computer next year, because it gives me time to do other, like I say, do other things, but also refresh my mind, because you get creator's block. You know what I mean? I think everybody's had creator's block at some point, and yeah, it's not fun. We'll see. I'll see what I can come up with during the Christmas period, like plan-wise, and I'll let you guys know. So when you're creating a character, it's a good idea to, if you're in a studio, obviously, but if you aren't in a studio, just keep this in mind and bear this in mind. It's always a good idea to think about how your character is going to animate and what needs to be, how far you can go without, not how far you can go, but how much you need, how far you can go before the rigger or animator would say, it's not viable, it's not doable, type thing. Because they will come back and they will say stuff like, you know, the head won't be able to rotate, the the shoulders are too high, stuff like that. So it's a good idea to think in terms of a rigging artist or animator when doing creatures and characters, and just keep that in mind, because they will ask you to update it or change it when it's like nearly halfway done or 3/4 of the way done and you're just about ready to take it into texturing, where it's happened plenty of times in my career. So if in doubt, just ask a animator or rigging artist, I guess. Phantom says, how do I put this delicately as a fan? Puts hands together slowly. Thank you. You are our Jackman. We don't let you until you know. Oh my god. No, I'm not that type of Wolverine, Christ. Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I had the powers of Wolverine, I would just do this all the time. And just immortality. I'll just do this until all my subscribers had died, and then I'd be able to give up. That would probably be the only way you could do it. Yeah, see that's nice. That little bit of chicken skin or chin under there, the double chin just there. That's gonna look really good, especially when we start using alphas to make it more pronounced. I'm just trying to figure out whether or not I should do the legs asymmetrical as well. Maybe I'll just leave them as they are for now. Phantom says, I'd like the Wolverine healing factor. Wouldn't be a fan of the long life or berserker rage. Ah, come on. Gotta have all of it. Can't just have one thing. I will take the berserker rage, the immortality, and the health anytime. Immortality. I mean, could you imagine being immortal? Like, what would you even do with your life if you were immortal, you know? Actually, that's a good idea. What is the first thing you would do if you were immortal? Phantom says, have you ever considered 3D printing your stuff and selling it as like Comic-Con? Oh, selling it at like Comic-Con. I have thought about it, but I haven't got the setup for 3D printing. I thought I would have had a setup for 3D printing, but alas, the flat is very, very small, and I have got reservoir. Sorry. What do you call them? 3D printers that use liquid plastic. I forgot what it's called now. Resin. That's the word. I've got those types of machines, and they stink quite a bit. And I have nowhere I can set it up to 3D print at the moment. So it's kind of out of the ballpark for me right now. Also, I need to learn more about 3D printing, I think, before I can start 3D printing, because it's quite an expensive thing to screw up, really. I've done a couple of models in the past, but then like a year later, they started to leak. I hadn't done it properly, so they were starting to leak. Apparently, the interior of the model was not dry, or yeah, the resin in the middle wasn't dry, so it just started to leak out, and that shit gets everywhere. So, need to learn about it a bit more before I start plunging into it a bit again. Resin, yes, thank you. Same. A friend of mine has a 3D printer. He came by and said that there was no room for the fumes to get out of my flat, even with all the yeah. I mean, you do get those ones that are like the resin, which is not UV resin, not UV, alcohol-based resin. It's non-alcohol-based resin, basically. It's easier to clean. By the way, it's not just the resin that stinks, it's the alcohol that you need to clean the resin. It also stinks. So yeah, there's also a fire hazard waiting to happen, all that alcohol. I think if I don't know, I mean, I'd love to do 3D prints of my work. But I need to figure out how to set it up, or find a way to do it, basically. Okay. I think that's smaller. Any other questions? No? Okay. Right. That's not too bad. It's not looking too bad. So the other hand's just going to be a normal human hand with a bit of sort of detailing on it later on. If I really wanted to, which I think I might, just to break it up even more, I'm going to get rid of the ear on this side, dynamesh it, and I'm just going to have a huge growth on this side of the face here. If you see on the concepts here, kind of like this guy here, down here, he's got like growths everywhere around his head. Now, obviously, they didn't do that with the ones from the game, because the ones from the game are actually, their heads are multi usage. So they'd have a body, or they have 2 or 3 types of bodies. Then they'll have 2 or 3 types of heads, and they just switch them out so they could make multiple variations of the creature. But because we're just doing one, we don't have to worry about that. By the way, gravity is the best thing for anything that you do in 3D. So I've noticed this a lot with beginning artists or novelists when it comes to 3D, is they forget about gravity, and everything actually works around gravity in real life. So it should do the same thing for your creature design, right? So if I was to make a sort of grotesque large person, I wouldn't have their belly just going straight out in all directions apart from down, right? You want to have that weightiness, which is what gravity gives your creature or your body and stuff. So you want to make sure everything is being pulled downwards by gravity when you're making your designs, or whatever creature you're making will have some type of gravity to it that's pulling it down. So just remember that in the future as well. Gravity is very important when it comes to characters, even normal characters. Not just creatures, but normal characters as well. When you're doing it for, there is still an element of gravity when you're doing it for games design. Even though you're sculpting in a more T pose or A pose, there is still gravity pulling down on your character. Oops. Okay. All right. I think we're getting pretty good results here. Just going to pull out this side a little bit, right. Really break up that symmetry a lot, right? And you can see how we're doing it. We're going from this side, which is from our vantage point right now, it's left to right. So it's left going up will be a bulky arm with boils and pus and all those gruesome details on the right hand side, or left hand side, sorry. And then it'll come down towards the abdomen area down here on the opposite side, thus giving us more interesting design. So what I mean by that is, I think I said this last week, but I'll just reiterate it again. You don't want to have detail like these small details that make up the pustules and growth pieces, right? You don't want to have it all over the body because it breaks away from the interest of the character and the actual character itself. It'll just look like boils. I think there is an actual creature on the game that is that, and that is this here. So this is the extreme design of just complete decay of a character, right? It's still got some features, like they've done one arm with these boils here, but the other arm is slightly smaller ones. So you can break it up in that type of way. But for me, this one here is just too busy as a creature, you know, as a character or a concept. It's too much going on. There's not enough for your eyes to rest on. And it's noisy. This one is much better. You can see it's got multiple head designs, as I mentioned before, but it's kind of contained most of the growth stuff at the top, and then on the actual body itself, it's a little less visible and it's more humanoid, as well as the legs and feet. And same for this one, contained in certain areas to keep it interesting, but not everywhere. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to aim for. This one's just overly grotesque as well. So it makes for what I think is less interesting appeal to it. So yeah, we're going for more something like this, something more relaxing on the eyes, I guess you could say. This one is just overly done, but there are periods on here of rest for your eyes to look at, which is still good. And of course, my one here, where I was doing some tests with the brush that I created, obviously there's too much going on. There is some breakup on what your eyes are attracted to, so the legs are less detailed. There's some something going on in the middle here, and then the top half, most of the top half is that boils and veins and stuff that this one down here sort of resembles a bit more. But for this one that we're doing, I wanted to make it even more asymmetrical, kind of like this one at the top right hand side. So that's the kind of version we're going for. Asymmetrical from one half of the body to the other half of the body. And I've just noticed his back needs a little bit more work on it, so let's just build up this part of the back real quick. Just smooth that out a bit. Add some weight, some gravity to the bottom of it. And then the same here, just add some weight in here. And around the front. Okay. Sorry about that. Right. I think that's good. That's good. It's a good amount of disgustingness. Okay. Right. I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. I think we've done quite a good chunk of work on this guy. And then next week, instead of having the portfolio reviews, we're just going to continue on with this because it's Halloween and we don't really want to do portfolio reviews on the Halloween month. So we'll continue on with this. I think we'll go into retopping them and breaking into the finer details stage, or not finer details, but the detailed stage, where we've got ourselves a monster, which is, at the moment, it's about, I don't know, 85 roughly % the way we want it. And we can take this very overly done block out, because it is quite an overly done block out, into a final mesh, and then just detail it further. Then maybe we'll get to the detailing with the alphas in that stage as well. But I think I'm going to leave it there. Just make sure that you're looking at this thing, just to look at it from all angles. By the way, look at your creatures from all angles. Don't just look at it from one angle. There we are. Fuba. I think that's what people call it, a Fuba. Cool. All right. A Fupa. Is it a Fupa or Fuba? Fupa. Yeah. I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. Oh, it's amazing. Every time I sort of finish a live stream, there'll be like 15 more people or 5 or 10 more people come in. It's crazy. Anyway, just going to put that up. I'm going to turn off the comments. Thanks everybody for chatting tonight, by the way. You guys have kept this live stream going with your questions, and your comments have been really great. Just want to say a big thank you to my YouTube channel members. We got quite a lot now on here. I don't think I've got time tonight to do it. I'll do it on next Thursday night. I'll read out all the names. But you can see we've got quite a few of you guys on here now, and it's really great that you are here. You help keep this channel going. You actually help, pay for the subscription stuff that I use to create my videos and models. So I really want to thank you a lot for all your contributions. Also to my Patreons as well. You guys are great. Tiers 2 and 3. There's no one in tiers 1 anymore. But if you want to become a tier 3 or tier 2, then just head over to the Patreon and check that out. Again, next week, my YouTube members will be watching the ZBrush to Photoshop full 3-hour video on how I sculpted the Goliath of rock monsters. That's in real time with background music, so you can chill out, follow along, or sculpt your own rock creature whilst watching my sort of version as well. And yeah, there is a 50% off right now for Artstation, Gumroad, Flip Normals, and ZBrush if you want to grab something like a tutorial, a brush, or a model. And that will be till the end of October. So if you want, grab it now whilst you still can. Just going to check the chat one last time. Celestials, thank you for joining tonight, Celestials. Phantom, thank you, Phantom Menace, and Hamid Salamani, thank you very much as well. Thank you, everybody. Monday, we'll be going into the hands for anatomy. So we'll be sculpting some hands. So stay tuned for that on Monday. I'm going to leave you now, and I hope you have a great weekend. Watch some horror films. If you have some spare time, watch some horror films. Brush up on your anatomy. Do your sculpting. Keep motivated, and have a great weekend, guys. Take care. See ya.
Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes, and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching and stay safe.